What's up guys, welcome to your fourth video in your HTML tutorial. Now in this tutorial we are going to create our first HTML page. Okay, so to do that we will use Visual Studio Code. We write our codes in Visual Studio Code. If you don't have Visual Studio Code installed, you can check out the first video on how to install Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I have Visual Studio Code open. Now the first thing I will do is I'll create a working folder. So I'll go to file and so open folder. Okay, so I don't have a folder here, so I'll create one. So I've created a folder here called HTML tutorial. So you can create a folder for yourself and you just open that. So I'll select the folder. Okay, so now the folder is selected and we don't have anything within our folder. Our folder is blank, so we are going to create a new file. So I'll click on create new file, and I'll call it index.htm, so representing an HTML file. So we have index.htm. So now we have this file index.htm, and we can now start writing our HTML code. So as I told you earlier on, an HTML basically primarily contains two main elements. So we have the head and the body. So now the head contains information to reference links, so like reference resources, like you can reference a CSS file, a JavaScript file. You can talk about the title of your HTML page, and all those stuff that you see within an HTML header. So I'll show you how an HTML document is structured. And so now to do that, Visual Studio Code makes it very easy for us. So we can just create a small, so it gives us a small keyboard command, and we create what is called an HTML boilerplate. So it just gives the boilerplate just gives us our HTML structure and everything that we need in HTML5, and we can start writing the code. So to create that, just the boilerplate, just use the keyboard command Control and the space bar. So it's Control and space bar. Okay, great. So Control space bar, so it gives you HTML5 boilerplate, HTML sample, and then blah blah. So select HTML5 boilerplate. So click on that, and bingo. So we have our HTML document created. So for now I'm going to remove those text that you see in green. Now those text that you see in green here, it's something that we refer to as comments. So it's not part of your code. So these comments are not part of your code. They are just human readable text, which the computer will not, so the computer will ignore them, and it's basically human readable text, so that somebody who picks up your code later on you can explain what you are doing within the code. So that is that. Now this is HTML, and you notice that there are different colors used over here. So you would get familiar with all these things going on. I've explained the comments. Now this is an HTML declaration. So this is a very simple way to declare an HTML, and this is HTML5. Now HTML has various versions, so 2, 4, XHTML and HTML, and currently we have HTML5. So this, now the previous HTML versions, you would have to you have it's a very long list declaring them, but HTML5, it's very simple and very straightforward. Okay, so you just create your HTML tag. So it has an opening and a closing element. So I told you about elements, and so it has a closing tag and then an opening tag and a closing tag. Now, yes, so I told you that an HTML document basically have two main parts. So it has the header and the body. So now the header, these do not, are not displayed in your web page. They are basically so information about, some meta information, so title, so description, viewports, so all these stuffs. And you have this reference to your style sheet. So if you have an external CSS document, then you can reference it and then use. And you can also have reference a JavaScript file here within your HTML tag, so you can reference a JavaScript file. But it's become a very common practice to have the JavaScript file also within the body at the end of the closing body tag. So this is your head. Now this is the body tag. Now the body tag, it contains all the information that will display within your browser. So we can just go ahead and create a header. So you can create a header. So a header, I will go through various elements and how to create them. Now how to create them. Now one thing that I like about Visual Studio Code is that it has this very intelligent it's intelligent, and as soon as you start creating an HTML, you start creating an element, it will suggest to you, and then as soon as you create the opening tag, and then it will to create a closing tag for you. So we have a header, so we have H1. Now this header tag basically kind of like gives you a heading, so you can have something like a blog post and you can have a header. So you can have a header. Now there are levels of headers, and you have header 1 up to header 6. So you can have header 2 up to header 6, and so on up to header 6. And this represents so it's kind of like so it begins from levels. So the H1 it's a higher header, and then down to the H6, which is higher. So I'll just show you how this is displayed within the browser. So you can have, say, header 1. So I told you that HTML elements do not display the tags. It only displays the inner elements, so the inner text, the content within the tags. So now this is an element, and what you see is just a tag and then the content within. Now you can have attributes. So you can have attributes within your header. So you can have stuff like ID. So you can have stuff like ID so that you can reference a particular so you can have ID, which you can call anything, and IDs basically allows you to give a unique like identifier for your element. So you can have an ID which you can later reference it within your document. So if you need to do anything like a styling and then so on, so you can have an ID and then so on. Then you can also have style, so you can reference a style directly within your you can have a style directly within your element. So this is what we refer to as inline styles. So so you can have styles. So you can give a color. So you can give a color to your header. So you can give a color to your header, and you can even select a header here, or you can just use these color codes. So you can use color codes. So okay, so you can use color codes to give a color to your header. So you can even just create something like just enter a normal text, red, and so on. So I can give another color to this HTML element. So I'll just make this like yellow. So it's a good practice to use color codes though, if you are good with color codes. I mean, they are not so difficult. You can check out color codes even on the W3 Schools website. So I'll give this header 3 and I'll make this color code. So what I'm doing right now is CSS. We are not treating that, but I just want to show you something within your, I mean, just demonstrate something to you now. Okay, so we're not using any JavaScript now, so we can just delete it. So you can just save your work. And so now we've saved our work, so we have index.html. So now this is just the code. How do we display this within a browser? We'll have to run our page. So let's go to the folder where you actually saved your work. So I saved mine in a folder called HTML. So you have this. So it picks a default browser. So my default browser is Chrome. So it picks. So I ask you to use Chrome to install Chrome. So we'll be using Chrome for Chrome is best for, I mean, web development, for debugging and then all that. So just click on this and then run, and great. So we already have a HTML element. So notice that these are the text that appeared within the tags. So we have header 1, header 2, and I think this is header 6, not header 3. Yeah. So it's header 6. So we can just say header 6, and whatever changes that you make, you can always, so I'll just say header 6, and you can save it. Once you save, you can just rerun, and so you have header 6. So great, guys. So this is just an intro into HTML. So in our next videos, we'll be diving into various HTML elements and then how to use them. Okay, so thank you guys for being part of this video. See you in the next video. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.